I would like to introduce to Paul Dest.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Do you remember, or do you know Edmund Stoiber? Yeah, some people? Transrapid, yeah, right. Edmund Stoiber was for many years the minister-president of Bavaria. And in this time he was a very popular politician. But at the same time, sometimes he was called Stotterstoiber. Do you know what Stotterstoiber means? Yes, Stotterstoiber to English it is the stuttering Stoiber, or the stammering Stoiber. So why he was sometimes called the stammering or the stuttering Stoiber? It's because mostly if he delivered his speeches, his political speeches, he said many confusing things. Nobody understood this. If you do not know Edmund Stoiber, then simply think on George W. Bush. It's better the same. So I guess if George W. Bush was a German politician and had a name like Stoiber, then sometimes he would also be called Stotterstoiber. But that's not correct, that's not right, and that's not fair to call Stoiber Stotterstoiber. Why not? Because the stuttering of Stoiber has nothing to do with the real stuttering. So it's not fair to the real stutterers, it's not fair to the real stuttering to call it stuttering. Today I want to explain you some things about stuttering. And I want to start with one old and silly joke about stuttering. A stutterer is asked, "Do you always stutter?" And the stutterer answers, no, only when I speak." And that might be a silly joke, but this joke makes one thing clear about stuttering. Stuttering is not a disorder of thinking. Stuttering is a disorder of speech. So to understand the whole thing about stuttering, you have first to understand that stuttering is a disorder, a separate and discrete disorder. So there's a lot of research about stuttering. And for example, the research about genetics, on genetics of stuttering. And one result about genetics of stuttering is that stuttering has a component, a strong genetic component. What does it mean? That means that if one parent of you is a stutterer, or used to be a stutterer, then your chance to become a stutterer is about 20%. But there is no reverse connection. You don't need to have a stuttering parent to become a stutterer. So these results about stuttering, sometimes they are understood, sometimes they are misunderstood, sometimes they are misunderstood in some very weird manner. For example, the stutterer says to his wife, "Darling, let us have a baby." And his wife answers, "Oh, I don't want to get triplets." So again, stuttering is a disorder of speech. It's not a disorder of injection. Okay, the other thing, the other interesting fact about stuttering and about stutterers is, in many cases you will not be able to recognize a stutterer by his stuttering. Why not? There are two ways for it. The first way, if a stutterer don't want to show his stuttering to you, then he has a means not to show his stuttering to you. How that? You have to know that stuttering, even if we stutter, because I am a stutterer, if we stutter, we do not stutter all the time we speak. We stutter only in some specific situations, we stutter only on some specific syllables, called stuttering syllables. So suppose a stutterer having problems with the syllables ko and ka, the syllables starting with K. And the stutterer is in a restaurant and wants to order a Coca-Cola. So a waiter comes to the stutterer and asks, "What would you like to drink?" And instead of saying, I like to have a Coca-Cola, the stutterer might say, I like to have this brown sweet liquid. And the waiter, excuse me? And the stutterer, there's a red label, there's white letter somewhere. And the waiter, what? Invented by John Pemberton in 1870. Bought out by a businessman in 1880. Registered, the name registered as a trademark in 1944. Oh, you mean Coca-Cola? Yes. There's a big glass of it. Thank you. So, that might happen, but that is not very likely. More down to earth, what would happen if the waiter would ask stutterer, what would you like to drink? And the stutterer would say, instead of saying, I want to have a Coca-Cola, stutterer would probably say, I want to have a Fanta. That's funny, that's really funny, but at the same time it's sad. And that is the first way why you would probably not recognize a stutterer by his stuttering. There's another way, there's a second way. The second way has to do with compensating stuttering. To understand this way, you have to get an image about stutter, what it means to be stutterer. Not about stuttering, about the activity of stuttering, but about the stuttering himself. What's the difference between a non-stuttering person and a stutterer? Imagine speaking like an aeroplane, and the ability, the automatic ability of speech fluency as the autopilot device in the aeroplane. So what's the difference to a stutterer? The stutterer, the plane of the stutterer, has a broken autopilot device. It is not completely broken,